This is Judge Crudup, and welcome to my storybook. Today, I'm going to read this book, continue to read this book called How to Fight Racism. Last time I read this book on chapter 7. Now it will be chapter 8 in this book. Chapter 8, How to Vote for Racial Justice. 381. That's how many days the Montgomery bus boycott lasts. Sparkling by lifelong activity and justice seeking. Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks. Shortened by black women. You're organizing carpools, printing flowers, a walk to end from work, and with Martin Luther King Jr. as the spokesperson of the Montgomery Improvement Association. Black people brought the city to a standstill and forced white civic and business leaders to change the segregationist politics. Just a few weeks before the formal end of the boycott, King gave the opening speech at MIA's Institute on Nonviolent and Social Change, a week-long series of lectures and workshops for activities. The theme that last was freedom and justice through love, and that addressed King monitoring the concept of the beloved community. He said, "Is it true that as we struggle for freedom in America, we will have to boycott at times. But we must remember, as we boycott that a boycott is not an end within itself. However, he explained, then it is reconciliation. Then the end is redemption. The end is the creation of the beloved community." The concept of the beloved community can sound like an autonomous dream book in an infatuation intelligence that stands powerless against racial injustice. But that is not how King and others thought of the beloved community. They understood love as the fire that food that emitted demand for. Kings. Law requires the use of power. In his roadmap to racial justice, where did we go from here? King wrote, power, properly understood, is the ability to achieve purpose. It is the strength required to bring about social, political, or economic change. He went on to explain power at its best is love in fundamentality, the demands of justice. Justice is justice at its best is love, correcting everything that stands against love. Love is not a mere feeling or a factor in the beloved community. Love is an action that leads the levels of power to bring about justice. Unfortunately, many white Christians have become the faction defenders of the unjust status quo by maintaining that Christians should not get involved in matters of public justice. The reasonably is multifactorial. Some contents that matters of justice are too political. The church should stand above and apart from politics so it can effectively preach salvation through Jesus Christ. Others involve issues of justice because they seen in moral discretions of the Bible and prejudices, co-opter of the faith by sexual philosophies such as modernists and critical race theory. Still, others fail to see any issues in segment tones and think that scarcities inequalities stem only from individual choices and not for the part from border structures. What is missing for these Christians is the Christian concept of love. Love for neighbor requires critical and dismantling unjust systems of racial oppression. It is one dismantling unjust systems of racial oppression. It is one matter to acknowledge that all people are made equal and have inherent dignity in their very being. It is another matter to indifferent the ways the remains of God is defaced in groups of people through systems and politics, and to deface in groups of people through systems and politics, and to walk against those injustice. The emphasis here is on life together in a nation under laws and politics. If Christians claim to be concerned for their neighbors, then they must also be concerned about the structures and systems that enable or inhabit their neighbors. Fortunately, as pastors, Mike Emerson wrote, you cannot love your neighbor while supporting or accepting systems that crush, exploit, and dehumanize them. The printed chapter opens the commitment section of the ARC of Racial Justice. In chapter 2, I explain that bars of abortion for racial and ethnic equality based on the concept of the maze of God. Now, I want to take that crucial, building on the concept of the dignity of individuals and extending it to matter of public justice rooted in love of neighbor. This chapter emphasizes how churches and faith communities can commit to changing racist policies. Such chapters will broaden the focus to entail of all kinds, accessing understandings. Love for God and neighbor. Love is the fiery heart beating at the center of the general call for justice in our world. Love is the anxiety forces of justice that extends on fairness and equality for all. Love is the monetary factor that demolishes any paternalist attitudes and builds a culture of human service. Without love there can be no justice. Throughout Jesus' public ministry, the scribes and Pharisees who were Jewish teachers of the law and religious leaders of the day, attempted to discredit him by asking questions designed to interrupt him. After following a series of such questions, one of the Jewish leaders leaders was impressed with Jesus' answers. So he asked Jesus a question that religious scholars have been debating for years about the commandments, which is the most important. Mark 12, verse 28. Jesus summarizing the most important commands of the Christian faith with a simple remark that most people who grew up in the church can recall from memory. Love the Lord God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all your strength. The second is this: love your neighbor as yourself. There is no commandment greater than these. Mark chapter 12, verse 30 to 31. Jesus encapsulates the core of Christianity as love for God and love for neighbor. This love emits the call for racial justice. Notice that Jesus juxtaposes love for God with love for neighbor. The greatest command is to love God with your entire being, heart, soul, mind, and strength. No part of us should be withheld from devotion to God. This is true love for God. But how do we and others know that we love God with our whole sleeves? Love of God is demonstrated through love of others. While Jesus distinguishes between loving God and loving others, he does not separate the two. It is impossible to love God and hate those who God has created in God's own image. The Apostle John put it this way: anyone who loves God, anyone who loves God must also love their brother and sister. 1 John 4 verse 21. Or as Freeman Luke Hammer put it, ain't no such thing as I can hate anyone and hope to see the face of God. We should also note that when Jesus says to love God and love your neighbor, he is not giving any interpretation of the law. The first part of his answer comes from Deuteronomy 6, verse 4 through 5, which is part of the Shem, and prayer that observant Jews were carried twice daily to remind them of the exclusion of God and the wholehearted evangelism to God. The book of Leviticus confines Jewish ceremonial law. It describes laws about bodily discharge, what to do with pieces of an animal killed, and the sacrifice with grains to bring for offering, and more. It can be grisly, tenderness reading. Like this book, it also includes Leviticus 19 verse 18, which says, do not seek revenge or bear a grudge against anyone among your people, but love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. Love of God and love of neighbor have been a foundation of Judeo-Christian belief for centuries. The Apostle Paul builds on the necessity of love in 1 Corinthians 13. If I'm seeking the tolerances of men or of angels, but do not have love, I am only a resounding going or a changing combo. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all the mysteries and all the knowledge, and if I have faith that can move more mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardship that I may boost, but do not have love, I gain nothing. 1 Corinthians 13, verse 1 through 3. The impetus for public justice in the Christian life comes from the ethical demands of love. The most equitable and greatest talents of preaching or teaching about justice amount to a discordant corresponding. If those unteachings are not undergirded by love, the deepest knowledge of theology, politics, history, and science mean nothing if love is not the intelligence building that inform it together. Even the most admirable sacrifices, like giving away all your money to the poor or spending your life suffering for the sake of others, are only a form of procedure. So if those efforts are not unfusioned with love, you cannot pursue justice without love. Fighting racism is better witness to Christ. Love for God and love for neighbor mean that preaching the gospel and working for racial justice are not at odds. It's one needs to the other. Some Christians had attempt to insist a way between the task of evangelist proclaiming the good news about Jesus Christ and the salvation he offers, and the task of racial justice. This is a false disharmony, disharmony. Christ called his followers to bear witness about him throughout the world. This witness necessary includes not only the verbal announcement to repent and believe, but also the intentionalism of Christ's concern for the marginalized and oppressed. In Matthew 20, in Matthew 25, Jesus so closely identifies with those who experience hardship that he says to serve them is to serve him. Will we feed the hunger and show hospitality to the stranger, clothe the naked, look after the sick, and visit the imprisoned? We have done the same to Christ. He said, "Truly I tell you, wherever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." Matthew 25, verse 40. To care for those who endure injustice, including racism, is to bear witness to Christ himself and to declare his godness in the world indeed. This chapter focuses on the actions that congregations can take in order to fight for racial justice. Many of those practices can be undertaken as an individual, or they can be done as church or denomination. These practices may not, on the surface, appeal to deal directly with race, but broader issues of justice are nearly always connected to racial discrimination. So while planning a voter registration drive or adopting a public school may not exactly deal with race, since so many injustices fall disproportionately on racial and intentional minorities, these can still be considered racial justice practice. Racial justice practice. Still low budget for justice. Jim McCoy faithfully pastor held church, Crudup Baptist, for several years, but the small congregation area never grew beyond a few dozen people. They came to the difficult decision to close the church doors and sell the property. But afterwards, they did something unusual with the money. They took the $1 million they got from the sale and gave it to 35 religious organizations and non-profits. They also ensured that the Hispanic congregation that had been relying on their buildings could buy it for below market price. When asked why her church members choose to give away the money, McCoy replied, "Rather than sell ourselves and spend down all the assets and all the budgets, and then just had this building, we felt that the appropriate thing to do was to close and sell the building and then give out those assets. Well, most churches may not be selling their buildings or had seven-figure dollars amounts to spend. The explain of Storybook Baptist Church does things as a model for us all. Perhaps instead of doing a capital campaign to raise funds for the new building, Lord Church might use that money to help location nonprofits and other churches considering taking up a spiritual connection to support another church. Host community organizations or congregations in family free of charge, being less on intelligent progressing are socialists that money for community organizers. Many racial justice practice including a redistribution of money because racism has always been closely related to economic exploitation and greed. The point of this practice is not to assess a monetary value to racism or racial justice, but to acknowledge and address the clear financial discriminations or discrimination. Host a candidate phone. Churches on the margins tend to have an easier time integrating faith and justice because they had endured the pernicious effects of injustice firsthand. In the United States, the black church had developed a long and important tradition of working for justice in the name of the survival they claim. Historically, black Christians had not hesitated to get involved in politics because policies enacted by legislations have often been closely tied to their health and safety. Charles H. Pierce in 1817 to 1887 was a black minister who helped start the first African Methodist in physical church in Florida in Reconstruction era. Immediately following the Civil War, Pierce said, "A man in this state cannot do his whole duty as a minister except if he but looks out for the politics interests of his people." Most of the black church traditionally discussing between the mission of the church and the workings of political bodies, but they have always seen the interrelatedness of the two in its cause of the justice. The traditional of related policies and faith continues to the present day. In 2020, Father Grassland Baptist Church and Parliament Church in Chicago, pastored by Charles Dates, hosted a candidate from between two candidates for state authority. But some may adjust to a church serving as a formula for politics discussions. Churches like Parliament Baptist seek to foster respectful dialogue and responsible information sharing when carefully involved endorsing policy individuals or parties. The church was able to participate in the political process and perhaps even evaluate it for a time. The debate moderators were remarkable. They're doing pretty good, right? They're sticking on time, giving due for thoughtful answers to which one of the candidates qualified. We're in a church. We follow our rules. A church interested in hosting a candidate forum should extend the individuals to all candidates. It is up to us. It is up to each candidate and their campaign to decide where they can want to attend. But every candidate should have the option in preparation for the forum. The church leaders should educate the congregation about why and under what circumstances it is permissible for a church to get involved in politics. The purpose of the forum is to give candidates a platform to express their visions for leadership. It is not to endorse a certain political candidate or party. In addition, candidate funds should be made open to the public when appointments, choices have been and often still are considered meetings places for communities and inviting the public to attend a candidate forum communicates that the church and Christians are interested in more than just spiritual salvation but care also for the entire well-being of the neighborhood, city, state, and nation. Black churches and congregations, comparisons or other evangelist group have valuable lessons to teach about how to attend to the politics concerns of their people without the church necessarily devolving into a tool of political politicians or parties, information people or politics issues, and opening up church factories to host forums on politics does not fulfill the mission of the church. It is an expression of that mission. Host a voter registration drive. Voting is one of the most fundamental rights of an individual in a democracy. This is not a politics issue where one has to support the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. It is an issue of having access to voice one party in a democracy. Choices can promote voting rights wider without the pressure to promote a central policy or candidate. Each state has different requirements for voter registrations, so be sure to check with Lord State's Secretary of State office for the most up-to-date information. You can also learn some of the big spaces from the U.S. Election Assistance Commissioner and Independent Baptist Commissioner that provides support for election officials. Hosting a voting registration drive at Lord Shorts will involve several elements. Determining when the deadline for voter registration is for your state and proceed the raising funds needed to register people. Announce when and where that the drive will take place. Gathering volunteers to help register people to vote. You might want to host an information meeting for volunteers so they can answer questions and ensure that registrators complete the process correctly. Be sure to announce and publicize the date and hours of the drive. In order to maintain the tax information standards most churches enjoy, the Internal Revealer Service (RRS) has clear guidelines about how churches can and cannot be involved politically. The general rule is that churches cannot endorse political candidates, parties, or platforms, and current language states that churches and similar organizations may not participate in or interpret in, including the publishing or distributing or of statements in a political campaign on behalf of or in opposition to any candidate for public office. They must give impartial representation to all political entities in a given election or campaigns. Alliance and exchange churches documents. Many churches and denominations have exchange statements of racial justice and racial reconciliation. That often these become zombie documents living somewhere on the web or in an office file cabinet. They may as well be dead documents with a constant affecting change, merely making the statement or at one time that or putting words to mean idea. or justice or racial justice is never enough. For those documents to have any power, they must reflect and inform the living individual or congregation or organization. Churches can also do the entire preaching or teaching series based on denominational documents regarding race relations. They can take the description past Crudup in the documents and compose such lessons about race relations based on those passages. Some church leaders may decide to host a special event or want a particular document that can include a keynote address, panel discussion, or time for questions and answers. One of the most significant ways a church can commit to racial justice is by taking an improvement statement and forming a local congregation or community to determine how best is to implement the ideals and recommendations contained in this document, such as effort provides specificity and to the universal document and involves the local congregation in the work of racial justice with the implementation of a large intellectual body. Holds a freedom school. In 1964, the Council of Federation Organizations conducted the Mississippi Freedom Summer Project, otherwise known as Freedom Summer. This entails brought hundreds of volunteers, many of them white college students from the North, to the state of Mississippi to help voters registration. As part of the education process, volunteers in local community activities hosting freedom schools. Freedom schools taught a candidate skills and providing several tools necessary to pursue racial justice. These short-term schools were voluntary and they took place in the summer when regular schools were not in session. They were staffed by volunteers who had been training in a public relations communication students, ranging from elementary to high school, and many of the instructions were college students and young adults. The emphasis was on discussing rather than lecture and preparation rather than passive construction portion. Hosting a freedom school is still a great option for churches today, especially black or other ethnic spaces churches that have already been engaged in the work for racial justice. Doing this well would, at minimum, be a significant or undertaking involving the entire church or even multiple churches. Hosting a freedom school will involve creating community training instructions and financial budgeting, but the effect will be similar to what many churches already do in hosting vacation Bible school or summer day camps. An environment will bring the attendance will be immutable. In freedom schools, churches could educate young people about aboriginal diversity, race, and ethnicity. They could explain the responsibility of Christians to love their neighbors in various ways, including working for equal rights for people of all races and intelligence. Freedom schools should be altered to the specific content of the local community. Upcoming elections, ballot measures, and issues of the contention across racial lines should be explained and discussed. The goal of a school like this is not the encouraging students to support a political candidate or party, but to inform them about matters that affect their lives and instill from a long age a sense of collective responsibility for their community. A freedom school could be structured similar to a summer day camp schedule, lasting about a week and serve the local population, especially students of color, to work best. The church should already have a presence in the community or be in a position to quickly build trust. Well, one way to do this is by enlisting community members in the planning and preparation for the freedom school. You can canvass the neighborhood or opposing civic organizations to share their idea, and then ask for volunteers from the community or for additional ideas for local residents. In important communities, matters such as food and transportation must also be addressed, and providing vans or buses as well as a meal or two will increase the likelihood that students will be able to participate, bringing in the guest speakers such as the mayor, city council members, civil rights activities, nonprofit leaders, and others to get short presentations and practical advice. Some full-time teachers may even be willing to volunteer to help teach or from freedom schools community college over the summer. Instead of hosting a freedom school, white churches should consider providing financial resources and support personnel to black churches and other congregations led by people of color. Start Community Development Corporation. Churches cannot do anything necessary for justice to frustrate in the political community. Such much work needs to be done that such individuals could easily take up the majority of church leaders and members' time. That this is not a reason to disengage in fundamentals of racial justice in the community. Many churches have started community development or corporations to foster justice in their neighborhoods and cities. And, and Community Development Corporation is a nonprofit organization formed to meet the needs of the local community. It technically has its own staff and requires its own volunteers. But many of the postlaw, including board members, come from the sponsor in church or churches. CDCs engage in a wide spectrum of activities, including educational achievement, sports, affordable housing, job training, physical and mental health care, and more. Wherever your community needs, a CDC can be part of the solution. In 1985, Pastor Tony Evans, Oak Tree Bible Fellowship in Dallas, Texas, established a CDC called the Turnaround Agenda, then called Project Turnaround. Their mission is to rebuild communities from the inside out with faith-based programs and community partnerships that transform the lives of unborn youth and families. Over the years, its programs have grown to include a food portal, K-12 public school outreach, a resale store, pregnancy service, and training in computer and technology. Low shorts CDCs need not to be as confrontatory as the turnaround agenda. A small start is sufficient to make a big impact. Begin by learning from people who live in the neighborhood of the church. Go door to door and ask what people like about their community and what they want to change. Ask people a local church could be a positive process for the people, businesses, and schools in the area. Never presume you know what represents our community. What the community want. I say again, never presume you know what represents of the community want or what assistance they may need. The best CDCs empower local residents to be part of the transformation in their own communities, and this begins by making their concerns local concerns. Starting at CDC is a massive undertaking and requiring legal expenditures in facing and aligning a board of directors. Hiring is as executive director, recruitment, training, and coordinating volunteers and more. They advise churches to consider partnering with other churches or organizations to establish a CDC and share the workload. If starting their own CDC or working with other churches to begin one is not a viable option, then a church can be donated to assisting community development projects and organizations. White churches can provide especially regular contribution by financial ally supporting a majorly CDC intended acceptably in line item in low budget to make supporting and community development corporation a regular part of the church's budget and vision. Sponsor a school. As a former middle school teacher and principal, I know firsthand that public K-12 schools had immense needs, and churches can help. Many are unfunded, lack enough experience as teachers, and have political music and art programs. They need all the support they can get. This need is even more actual when taking into account that the majority of black students and other students of color attend public schools. Churches can help by partnering with schools in various ways. First, start by reaching out to schools personally, including the school boards, including the school board and local school principals. Ask what they receive as the current needs of the school. Or the local education system more broadly. Again, do not presume to know what people need without asking them. Let us differ as schools are from one another. There are some constituencies parties. Schools can almost always benefit from motions and volunteers. Students at any grade level need people who will give them attention, care, and information. Monitoring programs allows adults to provide total achievement experiences such as field trips and other executions, as well as the postal apprentices everyone needs in order to feel love. A church can also organize in a book drive for local schools. Con- congratulations, congregations can agree to solid dominations from congressional and community members and then give the books to the local school or to intervention students. Churches can help provide legitimate activities and programs that schools may not be able to provide because of a lack of funding, depending on the skills and personal and law communication. You can start or coach a sports team, offering lessons in music instruments, start a drama club and produce a play, sponsors and hobby-focused clubs such as chess or gaming, or teach a second language. The adults involved in public education also need a care support. Teachers and administrators work hours that extend beyond the normal school day. They make crafts and design activities. They lose their own money to provide classroom supplies. They lose their vacation time to lesson plan, grade, and check in on students. Churches can support their adults involved in education in available ways. Give guest care facilities for messages, pay for mental health care or other self-care activities, order food for lunch or after work. Even something as simple as getting a group of churches members together to support and boost the awareness of a school event. This motivates commitment and gratitude for educators and all they do for their students. Also, don't forget the staff and administrations. Classroom teachers tend to be the focus of service activities, but there is an entire influential texture of personal beyond the classroom who need care too. The opportunities for getting involved in the local public schools, one line, and the need is in greatest. The primary concern is doing this should be to serve the school and the students. But there is also great values for the church as well. Free instructions are written in the community as deeply as public schools. If we want to know, if we want to build a non-law neighborhood, law city, and the people in it, getting involved in schools is one of the best ways to do it. Spending an hour with a student during a tutorial or taking time to listen to teachers and principals can provide more helpful information than any book or article. Developing meaningful personal relationships with local education centers can open you up to more cross cultures interaction than any one time presentation or discussion. Any church dedicated to racial justice must consider how they can support and invest in their local public schools. Every church has the opportunity to pursue racial justice in its local content. How has God equality and positioning a local group to participate in the positive transformation of local community? In what ways can your congregation exercise spiritual imagination to break down the walls of poverty and build bridges of equity? The entire Bible and the life of Jesus Christ testifies. The entire Bible and the life of Jesus Christ testify that the witness of the Christian life is one of the both word and deed. This witness is the proclaiming nation that God offers salvation to all who repent and believe, and that this good news extends not just to our spiritual state, but to our humanitarian condition as well. The question is not if churches should work for racial justice, but how they should do. And that's the end of this book called How to Work for Racial Justice on Chapter 8. Next time we'll be reading on Chapter 9 called How to Fight System Racism. In this book, I will continue in this book the next time, How to Fight Racism. Until next time, I'm Judge Crudup. Thank you for enjoying this video, and God bless.